Welcome to the Startup Grind.
To come back to Jordan and do something great. I never knew when it would happen, how it would happen, but I knew that I was going to come back. So I spent most of my life in the Bay Area. I worked for a lot of early stage startups. This is how I put myself through school. In 1996, I happened to be in San Francisco, which was the start of the first e-commerce companies at that time. Amazon is one of them.
And how did you get there? Was it for school or for just your family moved there, or how did that work?
I actually got married. I was 18.
Nice.
And I married the first girl that kissed me. She lived in California at the time. I was actually in New York. And that's why I went to the Valley.
Yeah, okay, good reason. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Now I'm still married to the same woman.
Congratulations.
And I have 4 boys with her, so it's been a good marriage. And I had to put food on the table because I was married now, and I put myself through school by working for a lot of early stage startups. At the time, the Valley e-commerce and internet was still brand new, and there wasn't enough human resources, so they were hiring everybody out of college. And so I ended up working for a lot of early stage startups. I really never spent more than 3 months at a company. And this was a very exciting time for me because I didn't want to tie my career or my knowledge or my experience to a single startup or a single technology or a single company. And specifically during this time, there was a new company and a new startup almost every 24 hours. So I did that all the way until 2005, and then I joined Zazzle.com. There, I was number 4 at Zazzle, and again, very fortunate to work directly with the founders.
How did you find them? How did they find you?
They actually found me. So having been at the very early stage startup environment in Silicon Valley, there was a few known engineers, let's say, maybe a couple of hundred, 200-300 people that always circulated across startups, and they're the go-to guys when you're building a large data center. I was one of those people. And so they reached out to me. They wanted to build a data center that can process millions of transactions and host millions of users and basically launch a very, very big e-commerce website. And so they recruited me, they headhunted me, and I joined them. I was number 4 there. And I was Director of Information Technology and Operations. And I was very fortunate to work directly with the founders. And this is really when I learned about how to build a company, was at Zazzle. Even though I did a lot of early stage work, but Zazzle was a very specific case because the guys were very organized, they were very passionate about what they're doing, and they had an amazing business plan. So I worked very closely with the CEO and the other founders, and I watched how they hired and how they grew the company, how they got funded and all of these things. And it was my first real lifetime experience at a startup evolving from nothing into what Zazzle is today.
Can I stop you? So
sure.
You were doing IT, right, for Zazzle and for a number of other companies. Currently, you're not. You're managing, IT systems, right? Would you say that you could be in the same place you are today without that background in computer science or information systems?
No, actually, computer science. School doesn't teach you these things. By the time you actually graduate, everything that you've learned is almost obsolete, right? Because of the internet time is much faster. I think what I learned from the most was the startup operations. Being able, working in a startup and wearing many different hats. I was doing IT, but I was also doing engineering, I was doing operations. I was even sometimes answering customer care calls. So in a startup, you have to wear many different hats.
And how much of this was done during school or after you graduated?
No, this was way after I graduated. I graduated in 2000, 2001, and I joined Zazzle in 2005. Yeah.
I've used Zazzle before when I used to live in the States. Can you explain kind of what their product is?
Yeah, sure. Zazzle today is the largest customized apparel company in the world. So after spending 5 years with them, they've got 1,500 employees. They're operating almost in 42 countries, and their valuation is in the billions. Zazzle, you can pretty much customize anything. You can customize t-shirts, hats, shoes, pants, even couches, iPhone cases. You can make one-of-a-kind product just for yourself, and it's produced within 24 hours and deliver to you. So it's a customization engine.
Cool. So we've talked about, you know, growing up and then working for these IT companies and learning a lot about startups. And so let's stay in there, like before you became a founder. What kind of just sucked about working for a startup as an employee as opposed to a founder?
Well, that was the great thing about my career. I never stuck at a company ever, and I refused to work for any company that had reached any level of bureaucracy where there's politics and agendas and gossip and you know, takes time to get things done. So at Zazzle, there wasn't any of that, and this is why I stayed with them for 5 years, because it truly remained an entrepreneurial company. It remained a startup environment.
Yeah. And so how do you keep a company from obtaining those office politics and turning it into something more bureaucratic?
Okay, so I think what's worked out for me is, you know, the founder and the CEO of the company, a lot of the times they misunderstand what their role and their position is. They think it's about, you know, getting funding and getting partnerships and you know, working in a business development effort. Where I think a successful founder is somebody who's very close to the operation, somebody who walks four corners, somebody who knows their employees intimately, somebody who is not just a leader but also a follower. I think this is what differentiates companies that become political and you know, bureaucratic and have a lot of negative aspects, is that the founder of the company is not very close to the employees. I just tweeted something that I read in The Hard Thing About Hard Things, which is a book by Ben Horowitz.
I just finished it today, actually. Good book, really good book.
Yeah. So, you know, the first thing that he says is that you need to take care of the people, then the product, then the profits. And so the people are very, very important. Your employees are really your real investors. And if you stay close to them, you'll know what's wrong about the company and you'll fix it.
Which, plug for that book, after I finished, I watched Ben Horowitz, the author of Andreessen Horowitz, do a Startup Grind interview in Mountain View. So yeah, you were somewhat sharing the stage with him. Very cool. So interesting. So that was, I mean, you worked for these IT companies. You were almost somewhat of a CTO, CIO at Zazzle because you were number 4 there, you know, something like that. And then you left the US, right? So can you tell us, you mentioned your motivation there a little bit, but tell us how you made that decision.
Well, as I mentioned, after I left Karak, I knew that I was going to come back at some point. So after having worked for Zazzle for 5 years, I felt that I've done way too much. I was 29 at the time, actually 30 at the time, and I wanted to bring my children back to have a similar experience growing up as I did. And so I started looking at the Middle East very seriously, and I thought to have my own company. There was very little e-commerce activity going on in the region, and the people that were doing e-commerce didn't know how to do it properly. So that there was an opportunity for me, and that's why I was convinced to move back and start something on my own.
Yeah, very cool. Which we're going to actually get to e-commerce and the current state of e-commerce and your thoughts on that in a bit. But first, tell us, was MarkaVIP your first entrepreneurial venture in the Middle East?
It wasn't actually. So I was headhunted by Jabbar Group, Samih Toqan and Hussam Khouri, if you guys know them, out of the Valley to help them basically start e-commerce businesses. I actually co-founded Sukkar.com, which is today my competition. And I also assisted in hiring for Souk, and also assisted in hiring and starting up Coupon.com. I did that in 4 months, but then after 4 months, it didn't work out with the Jabbar Group, and I left. And by that time, I had an early reading of the market, and I knew that there was something there, and I knew that I was the most experienced person amongst the entrepreneurs and the founders there in the different companies. So I knew I had something really big, and I went for it.
So I think that brings up an important point. I mean, a lot of people have this dream, like, I'm going to go start an e-commerce company. I'm going to go compete with MarkaVIP maybe, but they haven't done e-commerce yet. Whereas you spent, I mean, several years in IT, and then you jumped and you spent how long in e-commerce before you started MarkaVIP?
I was in e-commerce.
I mean, yeah, the whole time.
Life,
yeah. With what were the other companies before?
I did work for
Zazzle?
Amazon. I did work for eBay, for PayPal, Friendster, if you guys remember Friendster, and MySpace.
Yeah, I mean, oftentimes we look at founders and we say that's an overnight success. He showed up to Jordan, started an e-commerce company, and it just happened to work out. Where the truth is, I mean, you were spending several years in this field. You knew it better than anybody else, especially for the Middle East.
Absolutely. I mean, again, I'm not a hero. I think I was just lucky that I came to this region at the right time with the right knowledge. But that doesn't go against the fact that somebody who has never heard of e-commerce or IT couldn't do something like this. Yeah, I was maybe better equipped. I had more credentials, blah blah blah. But that's not going to stop somebody from replicating it if they have the right willpower and the right intellect and the right people around them and the right investors.
Yeah. So let's talk about MarkaVIP. How did you first come up with this idea?
I actually came up with the idea after leaving the Jabbar group, and as I mentioned, I had early readings of the market, and I thought that the people in the Middle East were very savvy online, right? So there was 100 million people online at the time. I walked in Jordan, in Dubai, in Lebanon. I saw people were very fanatic about the brands that they wear. Everybody's always showing off everything. This is this brand, and I'm wearing that brand, and I have this watch, and blah blah blah. For me, this was kind of an inspiration that people should be getting these products at much lower prices, and starting a fashion company based on discount is the perfect way to enter into the market, because whenever you have an idea, you have to either revolutionize a service or provide a new product or an existing product. You have to have some value, right? To get to scale, to get people attracted to your business model or to your company, you need to do something very different. So for me, entering into the flash sales market, entering the Middle East through the flash sales market, was the way to capture a large audience very early on.
Yeah, Steve Jobs always quoted Picasso, which many of you will know the quote: "Good artists borrow, great artists steal." So, and obviously there were companies similar to MarkaVIP, maybe not in the region. What did you take from them, and what did you not like from them, and what did you not implement?
Yeah, so the business model is not a new model at all. The inventor of this business model is a company called Vente Privée, which is out of France. Today it does €1.5 billion in yearly revenue, and a lot of other companies that have copied what Vente Privée did have actually succeeded in developing markets. My biggest worry was that this is a developing market. There is no e-commerce, there's no payment, there's no logistics infrastructure. So, how am I going to succeed? But when I saw that there's companies like Coupi VIP in Russia that went to 200 million euros in 3 years, I copied exactly their model. So they solved the payment issue by providing cash on delivery. They solved the logistics issue by having their own delivery fleet. They started breaking down the barriers to entry slowly, and I copied a lot of these different techniques.
Cool, yeah, very cool. And so when you pitched to your first investors, is this kind of the story you gave them?
Yeah, absolutely. We are logistically, or from an infrastructure standpoint, the Middle East is more advanced than Russia. So it was a very easy, discussion point with the investors to show them that, look, this thing is working in Russia, it's working in China, it's working in Southeast Asia. So it definitely will work in the Middle East. Specifically given the appetite and the income per capita and the GDP and things of that nature.
Yeah. Look, we got camera up close. So since we're on the topic of investors, not that anybody here cares about money, but could you tell us, what was the fundraising like? How much did you raise? Where are you currently in fundraising? Can you speak to that?
So I started out with 7,000 JDs. 7 people. But what we did that was different is that we always acted like we're a big company, right? So whenever I went and I spoke to investors, I put on my investor hat. And I started talking to myself, what do these people want to hear? What kind of story do they want to listen? And I did a lot of research on the investors before I met with them. I knew what companies they invested in. I know which companies they tried to invest in, but they couldn't and failed. I did my homework and research on these companies. It wasn't very difficult to raise money outside the region. It was very difficult to raise money inside the region. So very few people here responded to my emails, and the people that did respond to the emails were basically laughing about the fact that I'm going to start an e-commerce company. I met with almost all the investors that were here. So we've raised a lot of money. What we have announced so far is $18 million, but we've actually raised much more than that, but we're not going to announce it yet. I didn't face the typical difficulties that an entrepreneur would face simply because of my background and my network and my credibility. I've raised most of my money from companies in the States and in Europe. Very little money from here.
At what point are you going to announce how much money you've raised?
Well, a lot of people...
Not that we care, like we don't care, we really don't.
Yeah, sure. So, it's actually funny because a lot of CEOs love to announce their rounds. You know, we just raised $100 million and we just raised, and everybody's partying and clapping and it's a big, huge party. I don't look at it that way. When you raise money, it's either something is wrong with your company, right? Otherwise, why do you need money? Or you're burning way too much cash and you're selling off your own shares in the company, you're giving away equity. You know, it's raising money is not always a good thing, right? It's not always a good thing. I don't like raising money, but you know, sometimes you have to. So if you have the right plan to use that money, then yeah, fine, go out and raise money. But if you're raising money just to be in the news, then you know, that's going to catch up very quickly with you, because a very good way to grow a very bad business is to throw money at it, right?
Yeah. I love that you said that. I mean, the best way to grow a business obviously would be bootstrapping. I mean, that can't always be done, but yeah, cool. So tell us, what's the day in the life of Ahmed Alkhatib at MarkaVIP?
So as I mentioned, I focus a lot on my employees. I'm very harsh. A lot of them are here actually. Raise your hands, MarkaVIP.
Can you keep your hand up if that's true, if he's very harsh?
Yeah.
They're scared. He must be harsh.
No, they're not scared.
Yeah.
I have an open door policy in my company. Anybody can come talk to me at any time about anything. It doesn't matter who it is, whether it's the guy that makes my coffee in the morning or the CFO of the business. To me, they're the same exact person, right? Except, you know, each one delivers on a different kind of value and a different level. So most of my day is spent really with my employees, trying to understand the problems that they're facing, unblocking them, you know, providing support, you know, being very difficult and very detail-oriented, looking at everything, questioning everything, checking out the atmosphere, responding to the customer's wishes. So I read the tweets, I read the feedback that comes from our customers, I read the feedback that comes on Facebook, and I always try to match that with a problem that we have in company so that we can solve it.
Yeah. Cool. So tell us. Yeah, please. Oh yeah, it's 1132. Everybody knows my laptop password now. So it's also my bank account PIN. So whatever you guys want on me. 1132.
It's probably the last 4 digits of your social.
Yeah, also that. So no, it's not. I promise. It's a very cryptic number. 1132. So, isn't that it? There you go. Thank you. Keep tweeting. If there's any interesting questions up here, you know, stop me. But we'll also have the opportunity. We'll pass the mic around, and we'll be able to. Anybody can ask Ahmed a question here. So great. Thank you for doing that. Ahmed, tell us, what was the tipping point for MarkaVIP?
As in what?
As in, at what point did you say, wow, we're really going to be a big company? And
I haven't said that yet, and I'm not going to say that, because I don't know how big we're going to get.
Where are you currently?
A segment to crack from the e-commerce market. But again, use that to your advantage.
Yeah. So, I mean, it'll be a barrier for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But at some point, I mean, it'll shift.
It will shift, but by the time it shifts, you've already been the leader in the market, right?
Right, yeah, yeah.
So it's going to shift towards you.
So, I mean, there's an advantage here, because there's a huge market throughout the whole MENA region, and the biggest players can't get in.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So is there a space for a lot more e-commerce startups?
Absolutely, 100%. So if any of you read Aramex's financial statements, you'll see that a lot of their business is coming from their shop and ship business. I mean, a lot. I don't know, maybe 200-300 million or something like that.
Where's that?
This is all the e-commerce that's going on online that we don't know about. So there's massive room for even another MarkaVIP. I mean, sure, you guys can compete. We'll prepare a welcome
I think
package.
that's a challenge.
But yeah, it's a huge market. There's 150 million people online. The income per capita in the GCC is very similar to what you see in Western Europe and the States. There's huge demand. There's massive demand.
So as far as delivery goes, because you're doing your own delivery, and then also you're delivering through Aramex, is that right?
Yes.
Do you have any other channels that you're going through?
No, we have today. We deliver over 50% of the orders ourselves using our own drivers and cars.
So do you see that shifting more towards your own delivery or more towards Aramex? Are they going to do the job as Aramex? Can they do it?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Aramex is at some point will have to do something about the rates that it provides, e-commerce companies today. But I'm seeing that we will actually move more on using our own logistics fleet to deliver, because for us it's much better. Why? It's cheaper. Number one. Number two, our return rates are lower. And number three, we get to talk and touch the customer directly. So our drivers today are not just drivers; they're also customer care agents. So it controls our brand equity and our brand image much better.
Awesome. Hey, well, you guys don't want to hear from me anymore. I'm going to ask Dina to help me out with the microphone. I think they have a third in the back. We'd love to take some questions from the audience and get inside Ahmed's mind a little bit more. So we'll have our first one right here.
So I recently downloaded the mobile app, and you're talking about mobile. How's the traction picking up on it?
60% of all transactions on MarkaVIP is on mobile today.
On your app, right away.
On our apps, yes. Our apps are the #1 apps in the lifestyle category in the Middle East, both on Android and yeah.
During your talk, you mentioned Amazon not being the region because they don't have cash on delivery, whereas in fact they actually do have cash on delivery in India, in parts of China, and otherwise. From what I've heard from people who've spoken, on behalf of Amazon, is that they aren't in the region because the region is very fragmented.
Exactly.
So you getting into any single market or any single country, you have to go with the customs, evaluations that happen there locally and the local barriers to entry.
No.
For you going into different regions, what's the process? How do you prepare the company? How do you choose to go into a certain market here in the region? You have 8, as you mentioned, and what do you think about what's the process there? What's the investment that has to go into actually doing that?
Sure. You're right about Amazon having cash on delivery in those regions, but the reason why Amazon is there is because it's a contiguous geography, right? You have 1 billion people in China and another 1 billion in India. So it's much easier for them to go into that region on a cash on delivery option than it is to come into the Middle East. The Middle East today is 20, 22 countries, but each one has its own laws, its own regulation, its own culture, its own tastes, and so it's extremely fragmented, as you mentioned. It is a challenge, but for me, that's an opportunity, because nobody can come in and replicate my business overnight. I don't want to get into a business where some big fish comes in, invests $100 million, and all of a sudden I don't exist anymore. So this is why the region is actually very exciting for me. In terms of how to enter into new markets, you have to do your due diligence. So, for example, I sent people to Erbil. They thought I was crazy, but I sent them to Erbil to go and walk in the malls, to go talk to logistics companies, to talk to customers, to do some research on the ground, right? I mean, that's the best way for you to understand that market, is by being on the ground there. And the best way to do it is to parachute people into that market, have them spend a few weeks and come back with some results. We actually have a department in MarkaVIP called Special Projects. The Special Projects is in charge of identifying which country we should launch in. And these guys go in, they do a feasibility study, they study the customs environment, they study the regulatory environment, they talk to vendors and partners and potential companies to work with. So it's a lot of research. Right now, MarkaVIP is doing this today. If you're talking about MarkaVIP 2 years ago or 3 years ago when we first started, we didn't care. We were actually transporting orders on a plane. One of us would fly, take the customer's order in a suitcase, and then go deliver it to that country. But this is how we bootstrap, and this is how we learned that, okay, in this country it's not going to work unless we have a distribution center. In that country it's not going to work unless we're legally registered. In this country we can deliver through Aramex. So a lot of, you have to do the research online. Having a pen and a paper is good, but you actually have to go physically into that market and check out the trends there.
I'm going to jump in real quick, but looks like we have a question back there too. So we're seeing companies in Asia who have Western competitors. Alibaba was one of the most recent, and they're doing these huge IPOs. And essentially they're just like eBay or Yahoo or Google.
Bigger.
Yeah, and bigger because they have a huge population in Asia. Do you feel like there's similar opportunities in the MENA region?
Absolutely. Look, international players like Amazon or eBay or whoever, Google, are not going to always understand. They're always not going to be a local company. The advantages of being local is, again, you understand the culture, you understand the norms, the values, the beliefs. You know what people want, you know what people like, you know what makes them happy, you know what makes them sad. Being a local company is something that cannot be replicated by some foreign company moving in and taking over the operation. So I think that's what happened with Baidu and Alibaba, is that they invested very early on in that region, and they understand the market much better. Yeah.
Question back here.
Yeah. Hi. I have actually two questions.
Tell us. Let's hear names and where you work. Or
Alfred. I'm a co-founder of Fidi.com. We're in Oasis.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. So I have two questions actually. First of all, how did you manage to acquire your first, let's say, 100 customers? And the next question is, from your current customers, how many are actually repeat?
Sure. So I'll answer the second question first. 80% of our customers are repeat customers today. And 80% of the revenue that's generated on MarkaVIP is generated through repeat buyers. Now, in terms of the first question, what was it again? How did I manage to acquire my first 100 customers? So when I first built the company, I started a Facebook page. And I forced each employee to invite all of their friends. And I forced them to call all of their friends to invite their friends. I made sure, and I did that I think for 10 or 15 days. By the end of the month, we had 15,000 likes on the website without investing $1 in marketing. And we had, I don't know how many people signed up for our launch campaign, but it was also equally a big number. So, you have to create anticipation and excitement and value around your startup. And there are very innovative ways that you can do, even today, without having to have the marketing budget that other companies do. But today, our marketing budget is very big. I'll tell you, it's between $1 and $2 million a month, so it's huge.
Did you know marketing before you started, or what was your exposure?
I didn't know anything about marketing. And I hired my brother, who sits in the back. Yeah, he was, I think, 19 at the time, or 20, who knew nothing about marketing. He was working for some mobile shop. He still doesn't know much about marketing, by the way. And you know, we just went to the books and we spoke to some friends. We researched and we talked to the marketing vendors like Facebook and Google, and we educated ourselves on it. I knew some things about marketing, but I wasn't a digital marketing expert. Yeah.
Yeah, please. Your name and
Tariq Farhan, designbook.me. Do you see MarkaVIP expanding its range of products, like maybe covering furniture, special products, or maybe even special cars, or any type of other physical products?
So let me guess, you're asking me if we're going to compete against you one day.
No, not necessarily.
Okay, so you're a design company, you do custom design?
No, actually it's sort of a platform for interior design and architecture and products for homes and projects that are listed by the professionals or the suppliers themselves. It's an open platform, yeah.
So you should know that we own homevip.com.
Okay, interesting.
But that doesn't mean that we're definitely going to get into furniture, we're definitely going to get into home decor and home products. Absolutely. I mean, we've built a platform. Today, you know, we have a logistics company in MarkaVIP. We have a studio company that does the photography, the products that you see on the website, the photo shoot. This is done by us. We have 4 studios in Belgium, in Spain, in Turkey, and we're launching a massive studio. So now we also have a studio business. We've got 60 customer care agents that are handling 8,000 touch points with the customers every single day. So we have a customer care business. We have a production business that translates and describes 5,000 products per day. So that's a copyright business. We have a marketing department that has signed up 4 or 5 million people online so far. So that's a marketing. We've created all these different businesses in MarkaVIP in order for us to make MarkaVIP become available. Definitely, it's not only going to be MarkaVIP, because we can monetize and capitalize on this platform that we built. We might be externalizing our services to let some other companies use our logistics or our customer service or our marketing. So we're definitely going to get into a lot of verticals in the future, and MarkaVIP will be just one vehicle riding on top of this platform.
So do you see the value migrating more towards logistics and marketing rather than sourcing the products from all around the world? Or?
Yes, I do. Because, again, going back to some of the questions that Robert mentioned, I would like to invite my competition rather than compete against them. So this is a very good way for me to, online companies regionally that want to go online and bring companies that are in the West or in Europe and in the States to the Middle East. Today, if they want to come, they need at least 1 year or 1.5 years to replicate what I've done. And so I can partner with them and let them offer their products on my platform. I'm not saying that it's better than sourcing. I'm just saying that I have this platform and might as well use it for other things.
Interesting, thank you.
And I think, I'll jump in, I think I've heard about your startup. Remind me your name?
Tariq Farhan.
And it's
designbook.me.
It's similar to House, right? But yes, for the Arab world.
It is, yes.
Excellent. And so, I mean, monetization comes through ads or sponsors. Or,
basically, there are different blocks. We haven't started with monetizing yet, but it's
absolutely
a hybrid between.
I sense a good collaboration in the future.
I love house.com. I've used it as
House is great, yeah.
It's amazing. Good luck, by the way.
Thank you. Okay, we should talk maybe sometime later.
Another question.
Thank you.
Tfaddal.
We have a couple here.
Yeah, no problem.
You might need to click it.
No, it's not. It's working now. Hi, my name is Ahmed Alkhatib. I'm a software developer. I work at the STS. My question is, you just said that you founded or co-founded 37 companies. So what was the point that tells you, or the indicator that tells you, that you need to close this company and to start a new business?
Great question, yeah.
And that's a general advice if you can. And the other thing is specifically related to MarkaVIP. Do you have a plan B, for example? God forbid that your company didn't work. So
yeah. So that's a great question for the first question. I usually get bored. No. So what makes me think that this business is not going to work and I should shut it down? Normally, funding is very, very important. So not having the proper funding, they might be great ideas, but I don't have enough money and I can't raise enough money to launch this business. It's not attractive enough to the investors, or maybe it's not attractive enough to the customers. So adoption is the most important thing. Is your idea, is that company being adopted very very quickly or not? That was what the most important thing for me was, adoption rate. Plan B, I don't have a plan B for MarkaVIP, and I'm not worried. I'm not worried that MarkaVIP is going to close down. You never know what happens in the Middle East. Lots of things that will be beyond my control can shut down the company. For me, I'm used to failing, and I don't mind starting up again. Yeah.
Thank you. I don't consider it as failing actually, because 37 companies is too much actually.
Yeah,
it's not failing.
It is way too much. But again, I started very, very, very young. I was an entrepreneur when I was 16 years old. I was selling bootleg videos in Harlem, in New York.
We won't tell anybody that. The authorities.
You guys can tweet about it. So I started a very, very early age. I think that was also something that shaped my career. Yeah.
Great question.
Hi, my name is Jawdat. I'm the online marketing manager at OpenSouq.com.
At where?
OpenSouq.com.
OpenSouq.com.
Yes.
Cool.
At a certain stage, I felt like the entire banners on the internet were MarkaVIP.
I thought you were going to say OpenSouq.
Wait, they still are.
Yeah, they are for me.
And I felt like, did this massive brand awareness campaign actually work for you? I mean, if you go back in time, would you do it again? Did you regret it? Did it actually work for you? That's the first question. The second question is about the return rate. Do you have a high return rate, and how are you handling that?
Sure.
Thank you.
So we don't like to be spammers, and I realize the amount of traffic that we push on the web, but the business model, specifically the flash sales business model, is extremely dependent on massive marketing spend. Has it worked out for us? Yes, it's worked out for us in a very great way. But equally important is the amount of intelligence that you build within your marketing department. If you're getting these ads, there's a reason why you're getting these ads. It's not we're not spamming people just because. No, it's because you've either visited our website, or you've bought a product before, or you have an affiliation with this fashion brand. We're sending relevant marketing promotions to relevant people. So that's worked out for us really well. In terms of our return rates, actually they are lower than the industry standards in the States. So the industry standard across e-commerce companies today in the States is around the 20 to 30%. Our return rate is actually half of that, if not less.
And why is that, do you think?
Again, having your own logistics fleet, you learn much more about the customer. In certain cases, in Amman, for our VIP customers, for example, we allow the customer to try on the product before they buy it. I mean, we do that. I mean, some customers know our drivers so well that they invite them for breakfast, and they go upstairs and they change, and so having your own logistics fleet is critical to reducing your return rates, right? Second thing, having your own customer care. We have a very informative customer care team that understands the customer's needs. You might buy like something that is the wrong size. Our customer care, in some cases, will anticipate that this product will not fit you, so they'll stop the return before it even happens.
Excellent. Yeah. Great. Next question. We'll try to get to all these, so don't worry.
No problem.
Hello, Basim Akkad. Ahmed, I will discuss logistics on the front end because, I mean, probably we talked about this before.
Can you tell us, introduce yourself?
Basim Akkad, Netco. I do courier business. But I'm interested in the back end, Ahmed. The lead time to get the product from the vendor or manufacturer to the logistics and shipping to the end customer. Now, there's a final leg which you just discussed, and definitely what you touched upon, if the courier was capable, he can help out without having to insource any and continue to outsource. But the first part is purely MarkaVIP burden. You know, when to buy. I understand flash-based sales, you know, convenient in a best case scenario.
You're talking about inbound, from the supplier to the warehouse.
Because at the end of the day, the customer still sees this 21-day lead time, which not a lot of people accept. And with COD as a complication, you actually resell the first buy click in 3 weeks time or 4 weeks time. The guy needs to be resold the ID, not complete the purchase.
Yeah, you know, you probably hear that in Jordan, and that's because in Jordan people are very spoiled, and you know, a lot of them think that they've become some sort of an authority on fashion items and products. The difference here for MarkaVIP is that we give a massive discount, right? Customers are going to complain about delays. This is actually the industry average. Even in the United States, the MarkaVIPs of the United States deliver within 3 to 4 weeks, right? And that's because we don't take any inventory risk. We don't actually buy the products until they are sold. So there's a process that goes into this consignment model that is, as you mentioned, very tedious and very difficult and a big burden on MarkaVIP. But the customer is willing to give up shorter wait time for getting a huge value and a huge discount. So yeah, customers complain about the longer delivery times, but on average, our customers buy 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times per year.
Yeah, Ahmed, how much can you control it? I mean, how much is controllable for MarkaVIP? It's completely out of your hand.
لا, it's controlled. The lead time to our warehouse is around 10 days. But today, this is the way it works. There's a campaign that goes online, Nike, for example, okay? We sell 100.
Right, I mean, it's a habit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, innovation is a habit. You don't just start one day because you want to start a company.
Exactly.
Excellent. So to many of us, I mean, we've seen you start MarkaVIP, and besides the falafel stand, we haven't seen you fail, really. So can you tell us, have there been failures along the way?
Well, the falafel stand failed. Actually, all of the startups that I've launched failed, except for like 2 or 3 so far.
How many would you say the total estimate? How many startups have you launched in general?
37. 37 startups.
You've launched 30 on your own?
On my own.
37.
37 startups.
And this is, of course, the biggest.
This is the largest, actually.
Wow.
So I've never had a startup reach this level.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. I mean,
it's not a very good track record.
I think that's like I said earlier. That's more of the rule than the exception.
Yes. You just have to, a lot of the lessons that I've learned was from launching these. And these ideas, I mean, they weren't like grandiose ideas like MarkaVIP. They were like renting projectors. That was one thing I started. I actually started the first Arab classified listing service in 2001 called Unishal.com, which if I had kept probably would be the largest Arab classifieds company today. But it's things that I spent 10,000, 20,000. Anytime I save money, I just throw it on an idea, and it fails, and I go back and make money again, and then
Awesome. I think that's incredible. I mean, that's great. I'd love to fail more, and that's a weird thing to say, but because I know that's the only way I could do something as interesting and exciting as MarkaVIP. So let's talk about the e-commerce space, and then we'll get to audience questions. So tell us, I mean, be real with this group. I think a lot of people here either work for a company in e-commerce or they've started their own e-commerce company. What's working in Jordan or in the region, and what's not working? Like, what would you like to see change?
So for e-commerce, you mean?
Exactly.
So look, e-commerce is a very, very exciting business. because you're actually selling tangible physical products. When I say e-commerce, I'm talking about merchandise e-commerce. I'm not talking about selling like a game or subscription or whatever. I'm talking about selling
physical things.
Physical things that people receive and enjoy and touch and feel and gift. What's not working or what's working? So you have to find products and services that people want and people need. This is very, very important. That starts again by you doing enough field research. There's many things that you can sell today. So we have the founder of Shukr Online, the Islamic clothing company. I don't know if you guys know it. This is an amazing product. Islamic wear is a massive market today. I know Fuad Jali has started hijab, and it's doing well. And so that's something that's needed today, right? A lot of today's customers offline are going to be tomorrow's customers online, and the children.